With 2020 coming to an end, I thought it'd be fitting to take a look forward into the future of Switch games and talk about some of my most anticipated things to come. So, let's talk about it.
Honestly, one of the things I'm most anticipating out of 2021 is the surprises. I'm sure we're just a week away from a big batch of new rumors that'll ruin all the surprises around the corner, but hey, we're always perpetually a week away from the next big Nintendo Direct too, so depending on which happens first, we're in the clear. But seriously, we know a decent amount about this next year on the Switch, but I still feel like it's a fraction of what's actually in store. But as for concrete games, there's a few. The one I'll get right out of the way is the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game that, like many others, I'm very excited for and can't wait to play, if only to experience similar feelings to the ones I experienced during my initial playthrough of the original game. I talk a lot on our podcast about how I crave playing Breath of the Wild on a regular basis, but the familiarity I now have with the original Breath of the Wild ultimately turns me off from fully diving back in. I'm looking forward to having a completely new experience, even a little bit like the original game, that I can play through blind again, so the sequel of Breath of the Wild is what I'm hoping will fill that void.
This will likely be aligned with the presumed 35th anniversary celebration of Zelda, but even if it's not, as far as I'm concerned, 2021 is locked as the year for this game. It's easy enough to say that I'm looking forward to more of the same from Breath of the Wild, but what's maybe even better is the possibility for the new. We've made a few predictions of what new things will be in this game, and these are things like the return of underwater exploration, new enemies, magic abilities to interact with the world in a whole new way. But what I'll zero in on here, playable Zelda or even co-op. The reason this is exciting to me specifically is that it opens up new gameplay possibilities, of course, assuming Zelda interacts with the world in a slightly different way than Link, but co-op would mean that my wife could also play with me. When Breath of the Wild came out, she played next to no games at all, but especially in 2020, she enjoys dabbling in several, especially if they're co-op. Now, I can't guarantee that this will be a game she does enjoy, but she's quite liking the co-op in Age of Calamity, so there's a chance it could transfer over somewhat. And the way I see it, there should be tons of new surprises and important moments in this game in general, and I just can't wait.
No More Heroes 3 is a game in a franchise that I have never actually properly played. I know there's the Switch remasters out now and everything, and I of course had a Wii when those games initially released, but you know, things come up, and at this point I'd rather not dive into games that I know have design aspects that are relics of the Wii era without having any of the nostalgia attached to it. In my mind, that would be an immediate death sentence and wouldn't be truly giving the franchise a fair shot. That said, I do have a curiosity for the love that people have for the series and Travis Touchdown as a character, so I'm excited to check out No More Heroes 3 in hopes that it can clue me in and ideally win me over as a fan. Monster Hunter is in a similar place to No More Heroes for me. It's a series that I've never been able to give a fair chance for one reason or another, but can acknowledge the appeal and see myself embracing based on my limited knowledge of what the series sets out to be. I typically enjoy engaging with games as a conduit for socializing with friends and family, and I have a few friends that I know will be playing Monster Hunter Rise and have asked me to join them when they play it on Switch, so I'm excited for the sessions to come. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is a game that I think has a higher chance of winning me over based on its own merits alone, meaning I could never see myself just picking up Monster Hunter Rise with the intent to play by myself, but Monster Hunter Stories 2 looks like it's just a less cool, in my opinion, Pokemon game, and I'm down for that.
I feel like a schlub saying I'm really looking forward to Bravely Default 2 without having ever played the first or first and a half in the series, but I really am. I played the first demo, and for whatever reason, I actually wasn't super sold on it at the time, but maybe just because it threw me right into it, or I didn't know what I was doing in terms of using Bravely or Default correctly, but absence makes the heart grow fonder, I guess. Because the more I think about the game, the more I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed Octopath Traveler, for example, for its ability to take the traditional turn-based RPG formula and add just enough to make it fresh, but not necessarily try to rewrite the whole concept. All in all, it'll probably be a generic enough RPG in terms of stories and enemies and stuff, but sometimes that's exactly what I'd like. Yet another one that's not officially confirmed for 2021, but I'm hanging my hat on anyway, is Hollow Knight Silksong. It may not be confirmed, but it is starting to finally get marketing material again with an exclusive interview in Edge magazine, which I actually barely know what that is. And usually after a game's gone completely silent for a long time, we don't see it again until it's ready for its final push. See Super Meat Boy as a recent example of that. Like with Zelda, I'm gonna say an unexpected reason I'm excited for this game. Obviously, I loved Hollow Knight, so more of the same flavor in a whole new package is very exciting. It'll have great platforming, cool new abilities, amazing enemy encounters, and all the rest. But one thing that's got me really excited here is that while millions of pre-existing fans will hop on board right out of the gate, the folks at Team Cherry will have an amazing opportunity to revisit some of the few complaints leveled against the first game and ideally win over a whole bunch of people who quickly dropped off the original title or just never jumped in at all. I'm looking at you, AJ. The two pitfalls that come to mind are a tricky world map system and plain old game difficulty. I've had friends stop playing on both accounts. But honestly, simple difficulty toggles could remedy all of that. One for basic room maps to autofill as you progress, like in Metroid games, and the other for just less damage taken overall. Of course, these shouldn't be the default, but I think Celeste showed how well something like that helps accessibility. And the more people who can enjoy this game, the better.
Super Mario 3D World was one of my favorite games on Wii U, and one of the only Mario games period, to be honest, that I've worked towards 100%ing. Because of that, as well as the fact that it got a pretty raw deal when it released being a game on Wii U that wasn't the game everybody expected on a platform not many people wanted to want in the first place. I've wanted Mario 3D World to be ported to Switch with online co-op, and have said as much in a video we did earlier this year, so naturally, now that it's happening with additional content in the form of Bowser's Fury, it is one of my most anticipated games to be making its way to the platform in 2021. I'll be interested to stream this with friends now that I actually plan to have a consistent schedule over on twitch.tv/fanatixfour next year. A new Pokemon Snap game was easily one of the most anticipated announcements that many Pokemon fans of all levels have hoped and pleaded for since the day we started getting handheld Nintendo consoles that could feasibly run a follow-up to the original N64 game. And with the reveal of that very thing, a follow-up literally called New Pokemon Snap, those requests have been heard and honored. I'm hoping this game will be long enough to facilitate about 10 to 15 hour long playthroughs. I hope there's a decent amount of interesting ways to explore the world, interactions with Pokemon to discover, and Pokemon to photograph in the first place. I by no means expect this to be the longest game in the world, but I do think it'll be longer than the original game. All of that said, New Pokemon Snap hasn't yet been confirmed for 2021, but I mean, like, come on, dude, they said coming soon a few months back, so you gotta figure 2021 is a reasonable cutoff, even considering all of the COVID stuff. Also, it is the 25th anniversary for Pokemon. New Pokemon Snap coming out just makes sense. Speaking of Pokemon anniversary stuff, this is where I get further outside of the 2021 confirmed games and announcements, but on the whole, as I'm sure is a surprise to very few of you, Pokemon Company's 2021 announcements are very likely to make an appearance somewhere in my theoretical list of favorite games to come out of 2021. We of course don't know for sure what that'll all materialize into, but regardless, if it's Gen 4 remakes, Gen 9, Pokemon Let's Go Johto, or something else entirely, I'm excited to learn, talk, speculate, play, etc., all of it. I'm sure a decent amount of what they have to share won't super interest me, like Pokemon Sleep or other mobile games, but I'm sure the stuff that does interest me will have me busy enough through the year to have me satisfied. Much like Pokemon, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is another guaranteed constant in my gaming rotation, with there being 3 more DLC characters on the way that are slated to be fully released by the end of 2021. That just means I have even more content to look forward to in my favorite game on the platform. 3 more characters to learn how to fight as and against, 3 more stages I'll probably never play on past the first day of release unless they're as good as Northern Cave, and at least 3 more balance patches that will likely shake up the meta to be quantifiably different by the end of it all. I personally will likely play Smash Bros. Ultimate until the day the next Super Smash Bros. Game is released, but having this game actively supported with new DLC is a huge boon for my enjoyment of the game while it lasts. I may not care about every character or game they represent, but at the very least, least, new characters challenge me to get better, and at most, they bring more people into the community to play with, and that's always a win-win for me.
So this actually isn't a game, and it's even less confirmed than anything else on here, but I'm very excited about the possibility of new Switch hardware in 2021. Whether this be a Switch Pro, Switch Home, or something entirely different, it's just always really exciting to have new technology, especially if this is a stronger console. That's something that most of us that spend a lot of time with the Switch will have a great time with, letting all of these new games run that much better.
And those are our most anticipated 2021 games, DLC, announcements, products. But at any rate, thanks for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a like, and if you haven't already, leave a comment telling us about what you're looking forward to most in 2021. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for more videos like this every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. New podcasts every Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.